Hi guys, I wanted to record a quick video to give you guys an overview of the upcoming weather brochure project. So as you can see here, I've made an example for you guys, and this will be in your notebooks after the page that you find this video on. So my example that I chose was an ice storm. I chose it in Montreal, Canada. And so how we're going to set up our brochure, we're going to have it kind of set in certain sections. So this first left-hand side here is going to be kind of our title page, and then we're going to have what is an ice storm, a notable ice storm of the area, so the ice storm of 98, what to look for, and how to be prepared. You'll notice that just the what is an ice storm and the ice storm of 98 are on this page. If you go to the next page, this is where we'll find our what to look out for and how do I prepare. We'll get there in just a second. So starting in our brochure, so we have this little overview. I added a picture that I found on the internet. This is an actual picture of a high tension tower. So they're like those big electrical towers that they have. This one is completely collapsed over because of ice. And I added just a little caption to give you a little context. The next thing you're going to see is I found this little informational picture, an infographic, if you will. I added just a little title, ice storms, and then I added, what is it? So in my research, I figured out that ice storms are when frozen rain falls to the ground and it doesn't actually freeze, it stays a liquid. But this liquid is then super cooled and begins to accumulate on all surfaces. Over time, that freezing rain, that really cold rain, will eventually become ice because it cannot be evaporated. The next thing I include in here is when does this happen typically for this area? We're making a brochure for a specific place, and it's for any tourists who might come. So they need to know if I'm coming to Montreal, Canada in November for my birthday, I could possibly encounter an ice storm. So you need to let them know when it's possible that this extreme weather event could happen. So for an ice storm, I actually had two dates. I had when it could occur in Canada, so from November to April, but most likely those ice storms will happen December to January. So this section here gives us a quick overview of what is an ice storm and when should I look out for it. Our next panel gives us information about a notable storm that happened. So in 1998 in Montreal, Canada, and not just Montreal, but kind of all of southeastern Canada, northern New York, and then we have Vermont right here. A massive, massive storm hit for about a week. It was 6 full days. And on January 4th, so the first day of the storm, a warm front moved northwest over Ottawa from the Great Lakes. So it moved in this direction over the Great Lakes. At the same time, a cold front was coming in from the east, moving west from Maine. So we have two opposing fronts, a warm front and a cold front, that kind of meet in the middle right over Montreal, Ottawa, Cornwall, Kingston, all of these towns. As they hit each other, they became stuck. And while they were stuck, when a warm front and a cold front meet each other, they tend to bring rain. They tend to bring a steady rain. Well, it was really, really cold at that time. It was January. And so these fronts became stuck and they brought a steady amount of freezing rain over the course of 6 days. And so in that 6 days, upwards of 5 inches of ice collected on power lines, homes, trees, anything that the freezing rain fell on, that ice collected on. So that's our first page. Now we're going to move to our back. So we just go to our next page. And so this one tells us what to look out for. So when we're visiting Montreal, what should we keep an eye out for? So the first thing we need to do is keep an eye on the weather news, on the meteorology news. If you see a stationary front coming, an ice storm might be on its way if you're within that season for an ice storm to happen. If the ice storm has happened or is currently happening while you're there, you would want to make sure that you look out for black ice, especially if you're driving. This ice is the type of ice that accumulates on our blacktop surfaces, so our roadways, and it's the most difficult ice to see. It can be very slippery. The final point I have for our tourists to look out for would be to just make sure you look out for trees and power lines. So if the storm already is happening or has happened, ice will collect on everything, and you need to be aware of things above you. So tree branches, power lines, street signs, anything that has ice that could have collected could fall and hurt you. And that's something that is you really need to look out for. This picture I included down here is another picture from that storm. This is a downed power line. The final panel of our brochure is going to be how do you prepare for this storm? What do I need to prepare? Well, for an ice storm, you need to have a winter storm emergency kit. And I know it's really hard to read those, but I have some of the stuff down here. So I found this list on a web search, and the biggest things it says is to turn your refrigerator and freezer to their coldest settings. Due to all the ice that is collecting on power lines, you're most likely to lose power. You want to make sure that everything in your refrigerator and freezer is as cold as possible, because if you lose that power, you're not going to be able to cool those things down continuously. The next one is to listen to the radio or the television for the weather advisories and warnings. This is where you'll get the most up-to-date information, so you can know if it's safe to go out, if you should stay indoors, what kind of roadways are blocked potentially. That's the best way to get information. The next thing that they advise you to do is to fill up your car's gas tank. Again, with electrical lines being down, gas stations may not be operational. You want to make sure that you have a full tank of gas so you're not stuck anywhere. The final one is to prepare this emergency supply kit. I have this little image up here, and this gives you a little more information. So the emergency supply kit should have basic supplies. So food, water, flashlights, battery operated radio, extra batteries, any medicines that you might need. If there's any important stuff that you might need in the event of this emergency, you want to include it there. So with that all being said, our final panel is just kind of a panel if you want to add a picture, if you want to come up with a cool name. I called it Hanson Informational Incorporated. I'm giving you information about an ice storm. And then I just added my little Bitmoji over here. So now that you guys have seen an overview of my example of the brochure project, you're going to return to our project overview page. This video will live right here. Obviously, I'm making it right now. But you're going to go over here. You're going to click on this Google form. This Google form will open up a new page. And I would like you to just respond to my video and to the outline of the project on that Google form. It's just asking if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, anything that you would want me to know about before we really dive in. One thing I want to let you guys know is that you will not be cut loose with this project. I'm not going to give you the blank brochure and you're just going to have to do it on your own. We are going to add quite a few more slides. So the next slide you're going to get is going to be about our formation. And we have a lot of help in this where I'm going to help you guys research that information, get that information into our slideshow, and then record that information in our brochure. So don't worry right now. I am here to help, and I'm here to assist you in completing this project. So if you have any other questions, please just record them in that Google form. The link is right here again. And that's all you'll have to do for today. Tomorrow we will begin the research, and we will continue from there. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you at this afternoon at 1 p.m. I am having my quick check-in. See y'all later.